but before 7:30, so hopefully we have 3 people here. We'll be able to take a vote. Do you, I was just looking up, it said the planning board's supposed to have 5 members and as many alternates as they see fit. Right now, we've got 5 members, you know, me, Joe, David, Matt, and Teresa, and Don was the last one as an alternate. I thought we always kind of tried to have 2 alternates. Yeah. I was thinking we just, you know, I guess with COVID and everything else, it's sometimes been hard to get a quorum here. I was wondering if we could advertise for another alternate. You know, somebody old that doesn't have a lot of job conflicts, and no more lawyers. We have enough lawyers on the board now.
What is that?
They need some groundwork, actual experience.
Yeah.
Like the first carpenter job I had, I worked for a remodeler, and he said every architect should have 3 years of experience in the field building.
I heard Don mention he was either an architect. I knew he was an engineer, but he said something about him being an architect too. So you been down in Boston this week, or?
No, been working from home. Trying to not drive anywhere. Do we have your application? We could.
Yeah, we certainly do. We'll open and close the public hearing.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
Do we need to have a quorum for a public hearing?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
No, I don't think we have to have a quorum for a public hearing, and then we can do some discussion and stuff.
Yes.
I think the public hearing depends on, does the public show up?
Right. So, okay. I did turn the video on, so this is the start of the February 10th, 2022 planning board meeting, and we're starting with the public hearing for the AC Communications CUP. And I'll make a note at this point for the minutes and the video that there are no members of the public here, and we did send out several dozen abutter notices, quite an extensive list of abutters, probably about 3 dozen. We sent out 62 letters. 62 letters. So nobody has showed up, which means they're either not concerned or they're scared of Al and his son. You know, and they don't want their fiber optic cable unwound. So public hearing is open. Nobody here. So the public hearing is closed, and we will start the planning board meeting. And David, you're still working on the minutes for January 13th and January 27th?
Yeah, I'm not sure we have meeting notes of a hearing, of a meeting that we didn't have a quorum. I don't think it's actually a meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The one where it was just you and me?
Yeah, I don't think we have meeting notes for that.
Okay.
I mean, we could do some sort of funkiness, like we could do like, you know, we could say.
I'll just, send Danielle a note that, there was no quorum, so, you know, there's no official minutes.
Yeah, because I don't think it actually happens if we don't have a quorum.
Okay, all right. So like if a tree falls in the forest,
It didn't fall, it's always been there.
No, if we don't have a quorum, then there wasn't a meeting. Okay, so let's get started with, the review of the CUP. And, we did get the, warranty deed to add to the package. As we, start out, Al, is there anything that you wanna, let us know about the CUP? Any updates, changes, things like that?
Everything's the same.
Okay, good. Wes, anything from your perspective?
Things are going along smooth, no change.
Okay. Well, we had the, site walk, and certainly no issues were, raised at the site walk. And again, no members of the, public, showed up. Just for the record, and for the video, this is an application for a conditional use permit from Alton B. Clark of AC Communications. Location of the property is 9 Bridgeton Road, map 1C, lot 76. And it is for a contractor business in utilities. And it's really a proposal to build a 7,200 square foot, 60 by 120 garage to house up to 9 commercial vehicles as needed. In addition, necessary supplies to be stored in the garage structure. There'll be a 20 by 20 office within the garage to be randomly used for clerical duties, communication with customers, and things like that. The company, AC Communications, conducts installation services for aerial and underground telephone fiber optic cables for home and business applications. And we have all the site plans and maps and everything, and the warranty deed. David, here's the package if you want to take a look at it and see if you have any thoughts or questions. While you do that, I took the time to develop a draft list of conditions, which we can spend some time going through with. Now, there we go. So, while we're waiting for Tracy to get here, before we get into the depth of the conditions that I drafted up, I just want to go over one thing, and this is kind of a learning discussion for myself. So, David, in Article 11, it talks about a site plan review, and 11.1, proposals for new construction or enlargement of non-residential buildings or structures and of multiple family dwellings, blah, 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 more than 5,000 square feet, which sounds like it applies here.
Mm-hmm.
but, then it talks about this whole process for the site plan application, 45-day period, schedule an on-site visit, and then it talks about the site plan content, and, you know, that's a fully executed and signed copy of the application for the site plan review, 2 copies of a site plan drawing drawn at a scale sufficient to allow review of the items listed under the approval criteria, but not more than 50 feet to the inch, blah, blah, blah. Then there's 17 things that are supposed to be in there, and supplemental information, stormwater drainage and erosion, you know, et cetera, catch basins, dry wells, drainage ditches, engineering calculations used to determine the drainage requirements, a utility plan, you know, for water supply and wastewater disposal, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I read that and I thought, well, I mean, we have some basic drawings here which have been good enough for us to understand what's going on. And then I got to 11.5, which I thought, you know, that gave me some relief, because it says, waiver of submission requirements. The planning board may modify or waive any of the submission requirements when it determines that because of the size of the project or circumstances of the site, such requirements would not be applicable or would be an unnecessary burden upon the applicant, and that such modifications or waivers would not adversely affect the abutting landowners or the general health, safety, and welfare of the town. And then it goes into a bunch of approval criteria. So I was getting the impression that, you know, it was appropriate to waive most of this technical, you know, site plan stuff, that site plan review stuff and all the architectural drawings and engineering drawings and everything like that.
Hello.
Did I, see, David's been doing this for 20 years, and, you know, this is my first year as chair, doing this. So, is it your impression that, we have enough in the package here that we, you know, we really don't need all that site plan review stuff?
You know, well, let's go ahead, Wes.
If I put in a word, I think because the site has had these 2 previous commercial businesses on there, I think it's pretty easy to accept the current one, and the previous business hasn't created a traffic hazard or congestion entering and exiting there. And Alan also said he's not entertaining having customers come to the site.
Right.
So and we viewed it, and it's a wide open place, and you couldn't ask for a much better place. Yeah.
That was my impression. I just wanted to kind of learn as I'm going here, but the way I saw it all is that it's wide open, doesn't seem to impact any of the neighbors. You know, there's a creek for runoff. It's not a problematic situation, and that we would only enact or impose all of the site plan review stuff for something that was more impactful, or that we had to be a lot more careful about impact on neighbors and things like that, and that I felt comfortable with the package that we had. But
yeah, it's interesting when you get to the top. It's interesting at the start. I've never noticed this before, but in the applicability, it says proposals for more than 5,000 square feet. It doesn't say and it doesn't say or. But the second one is if you're moving earth or more than 2 acres, or paving. It's interesting, it doesn't say and. It has to be 5,000 feet and you have to move more than 2 acres? Or is it one or the other?
Good.
It's interesting, isn't it?
I'll make a note of that for when we work on updating the land use ordinance, but,
Because it seems like it should be both.
yeah.
Because right now we have
Or.
this fairly flat, you know, non-vegetated area. They're just gonna, presumably, they're just gonna put a, building on, I mean, they may do some site work, but I can't imagine they're doing very much. It doesn't seem like it applies because it's already prepped for the site, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, good. So, thanks for bearing with me through that. I just wanted to, you know, make sure that, I wasn't, overlooking something.
And we don't, to be honest, we haven't had many buildings over 5,000 square feet. So, it doesn't come up very often. I mean, I think it came up, when those folks were putting in, the one on 113 there, that it's now well drillers, but before it was something else. I think we talked about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was here for that, I remember. That was where Norm wanted to put into the conditions that they use the, all the land in front of the place as a light flight helicopter landing spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, still there. Okay, let's kind of, walk through the, conditions, see if we need to change any or add any. Condition 1 just, explains that this is a contractor business. It gives the definition of a contractor business, and, you know, any change to the nature of the business would require a new or revised CUP. And 2 just says that, you know, it's got to stay under 40,000 square feet in the village commercial. Any filling, excavation, or earth moving activity when you put the building in has to be done in a way that keeps erosion and sedimentation to a minimum.
So that's 40,000 square feet per building, correct?
Yeah, per building.
I have a question, probably nothing to do with this, how did we get that 40,000 square feet? I thought I read somewhere 15,000 square feet, and I think that was established sort of to prevent something like Walmart coming into town.
Yeah, no, I pulled it right out of the land use ordinance.
Okay.
Not sure.
Just curious, okay.
Where here it is, it's on page 24 in, 6.4, Village Commercial District, D3, for retail and warehousing, storage and distribution, the maximum commercial floor area shall not exceed 40,000 square feet total.
42,000 is an acre, that's almost an acre.
Okay. So,
Okay.
4 is kind of boilerplate. This is these are the conditions that we put in to protect your neighbors from noise, dust, odor, vibration, glare, smoke, litter, other nuisances. It just says that basically your business isn't going to have an adverse impact on the value or quiet possession of the surrounding properties, and that your activities have to comply with federal and state regulations. B4B is really the whole issue with lights. You know, we don't want to dazzle the neighbors or impair drivers out on the roads or anything. We generally just put in that all lighting has to be pointed inward and downward. You and shield it, avoid adverse impact on, neighboring properties. And, then, lately, we've been throwing in something about, odors too, you know, since there's manufacturing and cannabis and everything like that we've been dealing with. This is, I don't think it's really gonna, impact, your, keeping the trucks there and everything, but, we do have it in there. Here, 5 is the one we need to, figure out, and that is your hours of operation. What do you want them to be?
Most generally, it's 6 to 6, but we're on a 24-hour emergency call, so somebody might be in there any hour of the day or any day, but normally it's 6 in the morning to 6 at night.
All right. We'll just put that.
5 to 7.
Normally 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. unless, what do you want to call it?
On-call, emergency,
Yeah,
storm damage.
Storm restoration
Less
is usually what it is.
on-call, emergency, situations, e.g. storm damage occurs, which requires immediate attention. Okay, good. I mentioned to you just the liability insurance. And because, this is a garage for, you know, up to 9 vehicles and trucks and things like that, and, you might be needing to, do some maintenance on them when they're in there or something. The floors have to be non-flammable and non-absorbent. Inform the fire department of any storage more than 5 gallons of inflammable liquids and more than 4 tanks of inflammable gases or oxidizers. If you're doing any servicing of the vehicles, you know, you need to dispose of the tires, antifreeze, batteries, oil, and maintain secondary containment for waste fluids. You know, and this is particularly because there's a creek there. We don't want things running.
It's all understandable.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Waste fluid containers, 2 bags of Speedy Dry. Code enforcement officer, fire department, and provision shall be made for the convenient and safe emergency vehicle access to all buildings and structures at all times of the year, including 20-foot wide fire lanes at locations as may be recommended by the fire department. And then we talked about the signs, 4 by 6 feet, no more than 10 feet off the ground, and obey all the local, state, and federal laws. Then we have the standard conditions. We need to, even though it's a lot of legalese, we need to at least show for the video that we walk through them with you. Applicant shall carry on the permitted activity in accordance with the description thereof in the application, documentary testimonial, substantial compliance with the description of the activity, represented as a condition of approval, any undisclosed or unapproved uses of the premises or substantial deviation, blah, 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 violation. And I kind of covered this a little bit in a simpler language. Any change to the nature of the business requires a new revised CUP, but this just clarifies the violation and potential revocation of the approval. Basically, what we tell people is, you know, if you have any questions about what you're doing or what you wanna do, or anything, just talk to Wes. And, yeah. By acceptance of this, conditional use approval, the applicant consents to the inspection by the code enforcement officer of non-residential areas of the premises at reasonable times with or without prior notice, for the purpose of determining compliance with the conditions of the approval or any provision of local, state, or federal law. Consent shall not be withdrawn unless the applicant abandons the approved use, notifies the town in writing, delivers to the CEO, blah, blah, blah. Failure to allow any such inspection may result in revocation of the approval. If the approval, number 3, if the approval is specifically conditioned upon physical improvement of the premises, obtaining of insurance or other requirement, the activity authorized hereunder shall not be commenced until the applicant demonstrates compliance with each of the conditions to the CEO and receives a certificate of occupancy from the CEO evidencing that all conditions have been met. Wes, do you issue certificates of occupancy for industrial buildings like this that have a little office in them, or?
I have occasionally, yes.
Okay.
Here in Bow, we don't have much, but over in Cornish I did, especially, their industrial park there, they put up a big building for, the old hickory sheds. That was 16,000 square feet or something.
Number 4, I've seen happen on a couple of occasions where we've approved CUPs and actually they lapsed and became null and void if the use authorized by the approval is not commenced within 1 year of the date of the approval, or if the use is abandoned for a period of 1 year thereafter, where there is good cause for the delay or the discontinuance and there's no evidence of intent to abandon the use, these requirements may be extended for additional periods not to exceed 1 year. So, if anything happens with your building getting shipped in, with the supply chain issues we've got and stuff like that, just let Wes and the planning board know that you're a little bit delayed.
I thought that only pertained to the use and not the building.
Yeah. The use authorized, the use is abandoned. Well,
Like I say, you know, we may build this year, or we may put it off. It all depends on how the year goes until next year.
the use authorized by the river.
Yeah, typically the use is connected to the building. In your case, there's a detachment because you can use the property.
The use is already there.
Yeah,
The roof is there.
Right,
We've been doing
right.
it for 3 years. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's appropriate, because you'll have to come for a
Building.
construction permit.
Yeah.
And that has a 2 years of life.
Yeah, good. Okay. So 5th and last, the planning board may schedule a hearing upon reasonable notice to the applicant and the public to determine whether there is a violation of the approval or any of the conditions thereof, including those contained herein or any other violation of any provision of local, state, or federal law. If the board determines that a violation has occurred and is either continuing or likely to recur, the board may rescind this approval or take such other action to amend or modify the approval as the board deems appropriate to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. I've only seen that happen one time in my years as being on the planning board, so don't expect that'll be a problem with this situation. So we will update the hours of operation. We'll add these conditions and the title to the package, and
So I have a few comments on
Good,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, so on B, the regular B, I mean, I don't think we should give them, they're not asking for 40,000 square feet, so I think we should limit it to the size that they're asking for.
Okay.
Because there's a huge difference between the
Yeah,
impact of,
I just took what was in.
Yeah, no, I get it, yeah.
Well, you wanna put 7,200 square feet?
I would do like 7,500, I mean, you know, you guys have extra, I mean, that's not a huge deal, but I'd say 7,500 because they're not asking. I think if it's 40,000, we do have to do a site plan, because that would entail a bigger piece of that property. What about parking? What are you guys doing with parking? So are you gonna pave any of that area?
That's what we're hoping to do.
Yeah.
Someday.
It'll
Maybe.
be at least a reclaim or gravel, because it's already paved halfway to the building, so then we'll gravel down into where the new building is going.
Yeah. Wes, when does the state get involved in non-permeable surfaces?
I can't answer that, but I know in Cornish, they do have within the ordinance, a percentage of land that can be covered by buildings, a percentage by impenetrable surfaces. So that's, it's probably drawn from the state, but it's written up in a town ordinance, and in Cornish it varies between a residential area and a commercial area, like called the IGA. It's sort of ridiculous. They can do 40% of the land for building and 60% for parking area, so a total of 100% of the acreage can be covered by permeable material.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things about the site plan review is when you start getting into impervious surfaces.
Wasn't there something that we talked about the first meeting that said per square footage you could have so many parking spots?
Yeah.
There is so many parking spots, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have tons
Right.
of land, it's just a question. And if you're not having customers, it's a little different, because a lot of times parking's for customers. Yeah, the only place I see impervious surfaces referenced in the land use ordinance is 11.4
That's right.
B4.
Yep.
Obviously, the whole land won't get paved, because they have to stay within stream and at least 25 feet from neighbors' boundaries.
And,
So you'll have some.
you know, there's some wetlands in the back and a stream, and the property slopes
Yeah.
towards that. So, that's one of the things we looked at on the sidewalk.
Yeah. So where you, so if you pave, where are you gonna pave?
Just right in front of the building, if we did anything at all, it would just be because like this is pavement from here to here.
Right.
So we would just continue the pavement to here, and we had talked about turning this building this way, same exact footprint, just turning it this way. And just pave in front of the garage door and then stop, so the trucks would stay on pavement all the way into the garage. That way we're not going in and out of dirt and
Yeah.
It also makes it a lot better for plowing.
plowing, right?
So have your garage face this way,
It would
into the, face that way.
direction, yeah, and so this would just be one straight line from this house straight out to here in the building and stick.
So this is not for now, because you guys do it, everything's right, but my house faces that way, like, and so that backside never
Right.
drives out. You'll
Right,
never
it
drive
never
out.
gets sun.
Like, again, I don't know what I'm doing here, but if I look at a recommendation, I'd flip it the other way,
Mhm.
so you get the sun.
Sun.
Otherwise, it's like, you'll get ice there for 3 months.
Yeah.
Versus put it the other way,
Right.
you'll get the ice melt,
Right.
pretty much
Wes had-
instantaneously.
Wes had brought that up
Yeah,
at the
'cause
walk, yeah.
we did our house that way, and all the windows are on the other side, and it just freezes like no tomorrow,
Yeah.
but it's,
Right.
that's not our business, I'm just.
If we do flip it,
Giving you a
we
heads
just-
up.
Right.
Yeah, so I would like to limit the paving to the basic area shown on the drawing. So, you know, if they did want to pave a bigger area, that they'd have to come back. Just because I do get a little bit worried about the stormwater and the runoff. Because you got heavy machinery here, you got oil, you got Quaker Brook. If you get too much pavement, and they're not asking for, you know.
What if we say limit, impervious surfaces to, the extension of the driveway, roadway into the building and the area around the building?
As approximately depicted on the
Right.
submission. Yeah, like, we're not trying to stop you doing anything reasonable, but, you know, at a certain point, it does become a danger, I think. And so, your trucks, do they have backup beacons? Yeah.
This word is double the size of the building, 15,000 square feet massive. That's not gonna be stuff that was moving around and store things.
Well, I'm just thinking out, I mean, you got Quebec Cement over there, so what time do they start?
They're 24 hours,
Do they come in, they don't back up though, right? They go through?
and they back up.
Do they back up?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think based on the, environment, we probably don't have to worry about backup beacons. Because if Quebec Cement's already doing it, it's tough to say these guys can't,
They're not very loud.
but, okay. So no obvious use for the house or the other garage besides using it with your business?
Or possibly lease it down the road.
Okay. If you lease it to any other business, they gotta come in and get a permit to operate there, just so you know. There's no reason for any sort of shielding, right? I don't see any need to put any shielding up or anything. They've kept up those, remember were you here when we did the guy who wanted to do the car lot and we had to put those trees up?
That was before my time.
Yeah, you guys have kept them alive.
Yeah.
They keep getting bigger every year.
I was gonna ask the neighbor, those are her trees, their trees or ours, I didn't know.
They're yours, yeah, they're yours. So, the guy who planted them was gonna run a auto shop and sell cars. And the guy who lived next door at the time, he was, a bit of a local legend, in Baldwin. And so, we wanted to put a physical barrier up there, so, you know, as time went on, those would block the view. So those are definitely on your property. Well, they may not have to. They were definitely planted by the guy who had your property. I think egress and going in, you're not gonna do any other driveways. You're not gonna increase traffic load. I'm trying to think of all the things we.
No, I thought about, as I was reading through, that's really, you're talking about standards for a conditional use permit, size of the proposed use compared with surroundings,
Yeah.
intensity of the proposed use, hours of operation, expanse of pavement, intensity of use, noise, dust, odor, vibration, shape of the lot, topography, degree to which landscaping, fence, and other design elements have been incorporated in. B, we go through the ability of traffic to move safely in and out of the proposed location, presence of facilities to assure the safety of pedestrians passing through the site, capacity of street network to accommodate the proposed use, capacity of storm drainage system to accommodate the proposed use, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I thought about all those things, actually I had this list, when I went to the site walk, and
Yep.
then I thought about it when I did the conditions, and everything's so wide open, and there's no pedestrians, and, no traffic congestion, and things like that, it seems pretty straightforward.
And there's nobody here, so I'm surprised nobody's here to advocate on behalf of the stream.
I was really, because we were, 62 abutter letters went out. I mean, everybody in the area.
Can't be their concerns.
They like us.
So happy neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is probably put something in that the use and structures, will, adhere to the, applicant's submission. Will reasonably adhere to, so it's not like it's perfect, because they already talked about moving some things, but like they gave us a drawing, so I think it's only fair that we rely on that drawing. I mean, if you flip it one way or the other, that's not a big deal, but if you take a right turn and go right up against the property line, that's a different issue. That's all I can see. I mean, I think this is great.
I'll add this in, right here in number 1.
Okay.
Right there. And then, the hours, and then limit the impervious surfaces to the extension of the driveway into the building area, and no more than another 7,500 square feet of impervious surface around the structure as depicted on the site plan.
And the limitation of the building is 75 square feet.
Yeah. Right here.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, I'm good. I mean, I think this is fantastic. You guys have kept it really nice for several years, so.
Sounds good.
You got a lot of credit in my book.
It would be nicer if we ever get it done.
If you guys done, then what are you gonna do next?
Who knows?
You gotta keep moving.
Wes.
I have a question on wording on item 7. Starting the second line, they talk about notify the fire department storage of 5 gallons of inflammable liquid, 4 tanks of inflammable gas. Shouldn't we drop the in?
I thought the same thing, but I looked it up, and that's what it says in the land use ordinance.
So you have to notify the fire department for 5 gallons of water.
But I think it means that, especially if there's a chance of combustion. Yeah, this is always one of those funny little questions.
Well, the inflammable is non-flammable, so. Inflammable means burning, that's.
So funny should ask. I just Googled it because clearly Google has all the answers to every question that one would ever want. So the definition of inflammable is it's an adjective, and it means easily set on fire. I know, Wes, I'm with you. You don't have to.
So that's not, it's inflammable until you tinker with it and put a match near it.
Oh, I can't
It's
explain it.
inflammable by itself, just sit there.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I can't defend it.
It's 10.3A. Yeah. All right.
So you want to know the definition of flammable? It's an adjective as well, and it's easily set on fire.
Wow.
Okay.
Actually, if we say that it's non-flammable, that's a very clear statement that it doesn't burn.
Yeah. Good stuff. I move. Are we to that point?
Yes.
I rarely do this motion, so you may object, but I move that we accept the application of AC Communications for a conditional use permit for a contractor business with the based on the application submitted and the conditions that we have discussed throughout this meeting that will be reduced to writing hereafter.
I'll second.
All in favor? Approved? Great.
You're legal.
Wait.
So you won't get all the documents tonight. We'll have to send them to you, but nothing will surprise you.
I'll be putting together a final package and then I'll send it to you, but,
What's that, Tuesday, you got it?
the 10th.
So if you wanna sign it, let's see.
That's me.
Yeah, so here, just sign it down here somewhere. I'll just put applicant's signature next to it and we'll call it that.
Yep.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
You wanna do it, you want me to do it? Yeah, okay, you're gonna do that.
So, one of the things that I've done is I just take a picture of this and, I'll, email it to you. And I know your email was Al,
Yeah, Clark, C-L-A-R-K,
right,
at ACC TELCOBIZ.com.
Al Clark at acctelcobiz.com.
Yeah.
C-U-P, signature page. You know, we've had some CUPs, particularly for the solar farms, where as soon as they're signed, people were anxious, they had to be able to show it to somebody, for something, so.
Do you want me to scan this in?
No, I have a scanner.
Do you wanna do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you just send me a copy, so I have a copy?
I will, yeah.
Okay.
And I scan it all into a PDF file.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
We should attach it to the minute.
Oh, yeah, I'll send it to you and everybody. And I got this in a Word file, so I'll, make those changes and then put it in a PDF and, we'll be good to go. They should all be this easy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys.
We're all set?
Thank you. Good luck with everything.
Great, thank you.
And remember, fiber optic cable, 26 Beacon Road.
We'll push it. We're working on it. Cool. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good night. Well,
Yes.
why don't we do the, CEO update, because I know there are 3 things coming down the pike, that we've talked about.
Okay, I don't have anything pertinent right now, it's been quite a week, but what are the 3 things you have?
We have heard from Dick Eaton,
Okay, yeah,
and, you know, he said, is it against any ordinance to have a new driveway going along the Reynolds property line? See the attached preliminary plan. Now, what you sent me didn't have that attached to it. It was attached to the one that he sent to you. So you have a
okay,
copy of the preliminary plan that he sent.
yes, I do.
Okay. And you said you may create a new driveway, however, due to the fact that there is an open review ongoing concerning the land, this will require to be included with the review. The right-of-way needs to be 60 feet wide, and the driveway needs to maintain a 10-foot green strip along the Reynolds property line. And then you ask him, what will be the function of this new driveway? I thought there is already an access down to Bilius's land. I think I have the name right. And then, Dick wrote back and he said, I can put in a 10-foot strip between Reynolds' land and the new right-of-way. Then he said, Joe Pierce mentioned that the owners of lot 2-6 were concerned that the driveway would go off the end of Firefly Lane and would be a burden and overuse of the land. I mentioned that I could move it off of River Road. David Blaze said he would agree with the change, and the current right off Firefly Lane will be released. I understand that the planning board will have to agree, and I will make it 60 feet wide.
So basically answering the question I had on the last slide, yeah.
Yeah. So, it sounds like he's about ready to come back to us. But what we need is, you know, in this case, we need the new survey architectural drawings that show everything that's being talked about, so it can be appropriately
In the
approved.
surveyor, so he generates the maps and stuff, so.
Yeah. Any thoughts or questions about this for Wes, just to, okay. So I just wanted to
I
get,
communicated to you quite a bit earlier that his mother has Alzheimer's, so his father, the husband, was taking care of her. He's 96 and Phil broke his collarbone, so I guess Dick is now taking care of both. So he's cramped for time right now.
Yeah,
He
well-
said probably near the end of March he'll start coming back.
that's fine, as long as, I mean, you know, we're doing this whole thing ex post facto, so
Yep.
as long as he clearly understands that they're not gonna start doing any more driveways or anything else until he gets the approval of the, you know, the subdivision, or the changes to the subdivision.
Yeah, because if he makes it more non-conforming,
Then,
there's gonna be more hostility from the board about it. If he starts putting in driveways and starts like moving stuff around,
Well, it's in the talking stage right now, so.
yeah, no, I know,
Yeah.
but we're just saying like, I don't like what's happening already, so if he does more that makes it more non-conforming, there's gonna be more hostility.
Okay, I can send them a message that'll put brakes on it, and when I first talked to, Smith, Williams, the landowner, I don't know his name, and I said, you have David Blythe down there with a lot, do you plan to divide more lots? They said, no, we don't plan to do anything more with the land down there. So, and I was
Don't
trying to
even stick
orient
a-
my conversation on the right of way that exists, so.
not even a shovel in the dirt until, you know, we get the signatures on the, on the new
Yep.
site plan. Okay, two other things coming down the pike, Wes, you told me about. You said Lori and Byron Murch are seeking a CUP for excavation of gravel on their
Yep.
land, map 3, lot 33A. An independent contractor approached them to gain a supply of gravel for his endeavors in building, such as a foundation, fill, and septic area. It was explained that the contractor may be requested to attend the reviews, but the CUP was with the landowner. And, you know, I started looking up extractive industries, in the land use ordinance, and the performance standards, man, there's a lot of them.
It's about 5 pages long.
Yeah, so, so a CUP for, excavation of gravel will, you know, we don't have anything at this point scheduled for the, what is it, the 24th? Is the next one?
Yeah, I think I sent you a copy.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
the sidewalk, we talked about it, and I sent
Yeah.
both
Yeah, they
Lori
could,
and.
we can get started with them on the
And
24th.
the other inquiry, that their agenda's been shifted to the 24th.
Yeah,
What's the property for that?
map 3, lot 33A.
It's right along 107 down, into the Cram Road.
Where?
It's on 107.
Yeah, so go down 107 and go by Rocco's house, go up to Crams Hill, start to go down the hill.
Stay on 107, heading towards Bridgeton's on the right-hand side.
Yeah, but how far?
Remember that house that burnt down and all the trash and dumpsters?
Yeah.
Right there.
That's the merch.
That's part of their land, yeah.
You wanna do mineral extraction there?
Did I what?
Do you wanna do mineral extraction there?
Gravel
They had a
extraction.
contractor approach them to be able to do mineral extraction so that he can supply and shelter and foundation fill and septic tanks and things like that. So that's what they're entertaining, to have a single contractor, extract a quantity of gravel from their land.
Huh, okay.
Okay. The next one is Kurt Christensen.
Kurt.
A builder and developer, has land on State Route 11, map 3, lot 2B, a
Yeah.
20-acre plot.
Yeah.
After a few meetings and discussion pertaining to ways onto the state road, he had an engineer draft a plot layout of 6 subdivision lots. So this is a subdivision.
Yeah.
Major.
The drafting reflects all lots fronting on Route 11 with 200-foot plus widths, and the lots are full depth of about 900 feet. Buildable area is at the front first 200 plus foot depth, and with swamp water and Quaker Brook running through the rear lot area. Each 2 lots have shared access drive entering the 2 lots, so that there are only 3 driveways established. And here's where I thought of you, David. Due to the rear swamp area, there are no other alternatives to obtain access to these lots, so he wants to put the driveways out onto, what, Route 11?
Yep.
Ordinance 9.3, access limitations, item B, deals with this ordinance situation. I advise Kurt to schedule a sit-down interview and experience what the planning board may propose pertaining to these access driveways before he ventures into a CUP proceeding and more expense to process information. So this would be a meeting with us to talk about, it's not really a CUP, this is a subdivision, right?
Yeah.
Hey, it says you can't put them on through. It's pretty clear. You can totally put it into the swamp. He just has to pay a lot of money to fill it in.
Well, okay.
Okay.
He had an engineer draw up a plot plan that was to MBH, or the fellows who did,
You have to do an internal road.
Martell's, Kirchhoff's, subdivision, same engineering firm out of Gorham. So there is a plot plan to show, and.
But you have to do an internal road. You can't.
I tried to work that with him, I've met with him about 3 times now, and finally said, see what you can work out, you know, I could do an interfeed road, but, something, I'm putting it in your laps now.
Yeah. So we are gonna have Kurt Christensen and Lori and Byron Murch and or their excavator here on the 24th.
Yep.
So I just wanted to get this stuff on everybody's radar.
Yep.
With what's coming up for the next meeting. And I said, I don't want a situation where David comes into a meeting and says, there's a new driveway cut into a state highway.
But it's still there, you guys let him use it as a.
Oh, he hasn't filled that in
A
yet?
construction, no, he's using it as a construction. Like, I'd shut him down if he was doing that, I wouldn't let him do that.
All right.
You're talking about when he fixing that?
The duplex guy,
Yeah.
he can't use that driveway, like, he should.
He asked, could he use it while he's building, but, you know, for access to trucks in there, especially for the gravel, for the septic tank.
He's gotta build it around, like, he can't, like, it just kills me every time I drive by there.
He promised us he was gonna fill it in.
Yeah.
Okay, folks.
He put in another one, like,
Oh,
there's,
no.
there's another one, yeah. The one down where they cleared out, it was a landing for, when they cut, that landing is just farther down.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So
About 2 years ago, 2 summers ago.
Yeah, and the access, no, he just cleared the snow out of it. So the access to that lot is from, what's it called? It's not, Freedom Road. So you know, there's that lot, that back lot, there's that 60-foot right of way that goes into that back lot.
Okay.
So, instead of going in that way, he went right in through 107.
Well, I think the status right now, he's not building there, he's got his septic in, and he's got his foundation in, but he's building on San Pond Road, the lot that he has there, I think he's.
Somebody just spent 5 hours clearing the snow out of there.
Into this.
And there's a rope across the entrance, like, here's our entrance.
I don't have an answer, I'll go visit him, I don't have an answer.
Oh, it's whatever, but.
It sounds like,
But I do know
sounds like
that he
you're
asked
taking
permission to
advantage.
use it while he was constructing there, and there was no taking.
Yeah, I somewhat purposely missed that meeting, I didn't have to,
I think that happened during the cycle. Well, be good to brace him a little bit. So, okay, anything else, Tracy? No? David?
No, we should just try to reach out to everybody and encourage everybody. I know there's personal issues going on, but we really need to make sure we have quorum, you know?
I know, I tried.
Sorry, I was late.
Oh, no, being late, quarter, never showing up.
Well, Joe,
Yeah, I get it. I won't put it on the record, but just, yeah, I get it.
Joe wants to get back as soon as he can. And I did ask, Bob to see if they would put in an ad for, another alternate.
Yeah.
Because it'd be good to have two alternates.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah. Bob, anything from you? No? Good? Okay.
That's-
Motion to adjourn, second.
You could probably